All right, take a minute to write this into your notebook. There are 3 ways to solve systems of equations: graphing, elimination, or substitution. If you need a minute, please pause the video. So what does it mean to solve a system? So when we solve a system, we find the answer that makes each equation or inequality true. Okay, what does the solution represent? Well, it represents the answer. And what is it? So it's the intersection point if it's just lines, or the intersection region if it's inequalities. So how many possible solutions could there be? Well, remember what we said with this before. I can have parallel lines and have no solution. I can have intersecting lines and have one solution, or I could have a line that is the same as another line, so those are right on top of each other, and then I would have infinitely many. Okay? So if you look at this, take a little time, you may want to pause it to write these down. If I have one solution, I'm going to have different slopes so that they can intersect. So if I look at this first one, the slope is -2. And if I were to solve the second equation for y, I would subtract 7x. Get -8y equals -7x minus 23. Divide by -8. And I would see that the slope there is 7/8. Okay, so the slopes are different. If I have no solution, that's when I have the same slope, but different y-intercepts. So if I take this first one and solve it, x minus y equals -2, move the x, get -y equals -x minus 2, divide by -1, get y equals x plus 2. Okay, so here in the first one, you can see I have a slope of 1 and a y-intercept of 2. In the second one, I have a slope also of 1, but a y-intercept of -8. So the two lines are in different places. This last option, when I have infinitely many solutions, I have the same slope and the same y-intercept, so they become the same line. Every point is the same as the other line. Okay, so make sure you have that in your notes. So what if I don't want to graph? What if I don't have graph paper? Is there another way to do this? And there's also a time when graphing is not a good solution. So graphing is not great when either you don't have graph paper or the solution is not whole numbers. Makes it very hard to choose the exact right answer. Makes it impossible. Okay, so yes, there is another choice. The first way we're going to look at as another choice is elimination. And kind of simply what we're going to do is get variables lined up so we can add equations vertically and solve for both x and y. Let's do some examples to see how that works. So I've got these two equations. What I'm going to do is add them together so that if I'm looking at this, I'm going to add the x's, I'm going to add the y's, and I'm going to add the numbers. So if I do this, negative 4x and positive 4x means there are no x's left. That's what we're trying to have happen. That is the elimination part. We're eliminating the x. So then if I add the other two, I'm going to get 13y is equal to 91. So now I have a very easy equation that I can solve for y. So I just divide by 13 and I get y equals 7. Okay, but that's only half the answer. The answer has to have both an x and a y because what we're looking for is the point x, y, where they both intersect. Okay, so what I'm going to do is pick one of those equations. So let's say I'm going to pick the top one. I'm going to rewrite it and substitute in 7 for y. So I have negative 4x plus 21 equals 1. I subtract the 21 and I get negative 4x equals negative 20. Divide by negative 4 and get x equals 5. So my answer would be the point 5, 7. Okay, let's look at another one. So if I've got these two, I'm going to add them together so that I'm going to get 7x. The y's, because it's positive 2y and negative 2y, they eliminate each other, and I get 21. Divide by 7, and I get x equals 3. Again, that's only half the answer. I've got to take one of these equations. I'm going to take this top one. I take whichever one seems easier. I'm going to plug in 3 for x. I'm going to get 9 plus 2y equals 11. I'm going to subtract 9, get 2y equals 2, divide by 2, and get y equals 1. So my answer, my solution, is the point 3, 1. Again, I have to have an x and a y. So what happens if nothing cancels? I'm going to start a second video here.